What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. And for today's video, I got something very interesting for you guys. I know you guys are thinking, why am I filming on a Saturday? Well, we got the announcement, I think this week actually, or sometime last week or something, that the next OTS is out. It is OTS 17, and I'm looking at the list. It's interesting. I'll say that it's interesting. So we're actually gonna go. We're actually gonna start with the comments, and we're gonna go all the way up, and then I'm gonna explain. What cards they. The names of the cards and what they do and how good they really are. So the big question is, how good is it? How good is OTS 17 compared to OTS 16, which I believe 16 gave us, if I remember right, if I remember correctly, it gave us a pretty interesting, excuse me. Actually, it gave us a rather interesting, it gave us a rather interesting, it gave us some interesting cards, to say the very least. So if I can get to it. So OTS 16 features some rather unique cards, I will say. It gave us Cyber Dragon, Firewall Dragon, and Forbidden Droplet as the ultimate rares. The super rares, it gave us Cyberstein, King of the Skull Service, Mausoleum of the Emperor, Token Stampede, Phonon, Pulse Dragon, Tri-Brigade, Nerval, GNA Transverser, Virtual World Gate, Quinlong, Drytron Zeta, Aldaba, Drytron Delta Alteus, Cybersaurus, and also Alteus. And for the comments, we got Cybersaurus, Miracle Dig, Royal Magical Library, kind of an interesting card, Penton the Dark Clown, Power Lifter, Lord British Space Fighter, Reptilian Hydra, Alien Brain, Lion Alligator, Stardust Flash, Cosmic Flare, Stardust Wish, and Breath of Acclamation, which this was going along with, the whole with Drytrons, Zoo, Tri-Brigade Zoo, and Virtual World still being viable, especially now with the fact that that we still with the ban list that just came out, the decks are still pretty viable. But how good is OTS 17? Let's start with the first card, the first common, and I'm actually going from down up. We have Tenny Spirit. We have Tenny Spirit. Sahasrara, I believe is the name. It's actually the Link, the Tenny Link, which is a light attribute, Link 4 with 3,000 attack, and its arrows are top right, bottom, and it requires 2 or more worm monsters, and its effect reads: while you control a face-up non-effect monster, monsters your board controls cannot target effect monsters for attacks. So basically, it's just a protection for your monsters where they can't be be destroying battles, so to speak, which is not too bad. Also, your opponent cannot target effect monsters on the field with card effects. So it's a protection for attacks and card effects. the second effect says, as a quick effect, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls. Special summon one Tenny Spirit token, which is a 4-star light worm, which is a light attribute 4-star worm monster with question mark attack and 0 defense, and the token's attack becomes the targeted monster's original attack. And you can only use this effect once per turn. So basically, it's for token spam. Basically, it's a way to it's basically token spam, allowing you to go into, you know, your link plays, your synchro plays if needed, because I know that you can actually use tokens as synchro material. I don't think you can use them as exceed material. I don't think that's possible, honestly. But yeah, just being able to use its first effect to protect your non-effect monsters, which are like normal monsters, perhaps. Is actually pretty decent. It's pretty decent. A pretty decent effect. Not sure if this was the best card to put in the set, but it is what it is. Next up, we have Shaman of the Tenny, which is a rather unique card. It's a fire attribute Link 2 worm with 1600 attack, and its arrows are bottom left, bottom right. You can discard one card that target one worm monster in your grave, special summon it. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot activate the effects of monsters special summon from the action except any monsters. So it does lock you out of activating effects except for tennies, but it's still pretty viable if you're able to resolve it. If you don't resolve it, you're pretty much just screwed at that point. So that's something that you got to be careful of. That's why, hence the reason why a lot of people don't run Shaman of the Tenny. It's just because of that fact. But the other effect says, when an attack is declared involving your face of non-effect monster, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So basically, it's basically a monster reborn, so to speak, but it locks you out, again, as I said, it locks you out of activating effects that were summoned from the extra deck, with the exception of Tenny. So if you don't have a Tenny monster, if you did not special summon a Tenny monster, that monster cannot use its effects. But if you did summon a Tenny, then basically you can just pop off. But second effect, basically it's like a MST Cosmic Cyclone. You know, it's basically like a MST trap hole type of deal. It's fairly decent. Not a lot of people use it because the card is just not that good. Literally, it's not. Which I don't know why people still think it's still viable, but it is what it is. But next up we have Painful Decision, which is a rather unique card. In fact, if I remember right, it was actually a secret rare when it was first printed. And obviously it's a normal spell. Send one level 4 or lower normal monster from your deck to the grave, and if you do, add a card with the same name as that card from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one Painful Decision per turn. So it's kind of like a 1-for-1. Basically, it's another form of 1-for-1, but for 4-star monsters. Again, it's another one of those cards that a lot of people didn't play, just because there weren't a whole lot of decks that were running normal monsters, so it wouldn't have mattered. So it would not have mattered. But this one we have Yazi, but the next one we have Yazi, Evil of the Yang Zing, which is a dark attribute 7-star worm synchro with 2600 attack and 2100 defense, and requires a tuner and one or more non-tuners. So sort of generic, but it has several effects. It says cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. You can only use each of these effects once per turn. So it actually has 3 effects. The first one was that it can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Second effect says, you can target one Yang Zing monster you control and a card your opponent controls, destroy it. So it's basically 1 for 1. Basically, it's 1 for 1 where you, or rather, or no, it's it's that one card. No, it's that one card that we'll probably never get, that we will never see get printed in the TCG. Can't think of it. Darts used it in the anime. I'm trying to think of it right now. Cannot think of it. Twinbo Centaur. Twinbo Centaur. It's basically Twinbo Centaur. So, or no. Sorry, no. It's I was thinking of Twinbo Centaur, but that was something else all on its own. Yeah, again, it's basically a 1 for 1 where you target a card. It's like Borlo Furious Dragon, where you can target one of your cards and one of your opponent's cards and destroy them. It's basically that. And then the other effect says, when this card you control is destroyed by a battle card effect and sent to your grave, you can special summon a worm monster from your deck in defense. So basically, if you're running pure, if you're running, pure Yang Zing, if you're running Yang Zings in conjunction with the Tennies, this deck, a deck like that could be viable, but it's something that you don't see that often. So it's not that good, honestly. It's a decent card. Being able to just pop cards that your opponent has on the field, pretty good, but not one that they see often. Next up, we have a SZW. I believe the S stands for Super Zexal Weapon. I believe it stands for Super Zexal Weapon, if I remember correctly. Oh, Shining Zexal Weapon. Shining Zexal Weapon is the name. So we have Shining Zexal Weapon, Fenrir Sword, and it is a force and it is a light attribute 4-star beast with 1800 attack and 1100 defense. And its effect reads: when this card is normal summon, you can target one Zexal weapon you control that is an equipped card. Special summon that target in defense position. You can target, so it's just basically that. Basically, if you normal summon him, you can special summon a Zexal weapon that's in your back that's in your back row. That is a Zexal weapon. Special summon it in defense, and then it's just that simple. Basically, it's kind of like I have to admit, the Zexal weapon builds, that engine kind of reminds me of the Crystal Beast, if you will, so to speak. Which, by the way, breaking news: I actually have a brand new Crystal Beast deck ready to go. I did have to make some modifications on the deck, but it's really good. It's really good. I'm still testing it, but once I get the deck done, I will do a profile on it. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But moving on, you can target one Utopia you control. Equip this card from your hand to that target. When the equipped monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the grave, you can target a Zexal weapon in your grave. Add that target to your hand. So basically, it's a way you can recycle your Zexal weapons back into your hand, and it's mainly used for the Utopia decks, which I don't think you see all that often. But speaking of Utopia, we have Chaos number 39, Utopia Ray V, which was first introduced in the Super Starter V for Victory, which I did an opening on back when I got my package from Real Good Deal. Big shout out by the way. No copyrights here. You guys know how this works. But for those who have never seen Utopia Ray V before, it's a light attribute rank 5 warrior exceeds with 2600 attack and 2000 defense, and requires 3 level 5 monsters. And it says when this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, either by battle or card effect, you can target one Xyz monster in your grave, return that target to the extra deck. If this card has a Utopia as material, it gains this effect. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, then target a monster your opponent controls, destroy that monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to destroy monster's attack on the field. So basically, it's like its own its own ring of destruction, so to speak. It still sees a lot of play, especially with the with decks that can make Utopia and then go into Utopia Ray V, but you mostly see it in the Utopia deck. So really awesome card, really good card. Next up we have Inductor Dragonfly. I never thought that this card would get another reprint, but it's a dark attribute 3-star insect with 1,000 attack and 1,800 defense. And this card was like one of the key cards for your Insector plays back in the day. This card was like the most broken Insector card of the entire archetype. Literally broken. Because it says, once per turn you can equip one Insector monster from your hand or graveyard to this card. Simple. If an equipped card or cards is sent to your graveyard, while equipped to this card, except during the damage step, you can special summon one Insector monster from your deck except this card. While this card is equipped to a monster, that monster's level is increased by 3. Basically, another way to go into your Xyz plays, which was really good back then, really good. The Insector decks back in the day, the Insector decks were just absolutely busted. I remember it was one of those decks that actually did get a lot of play. Sorry guys. If you guys notice me facing my TV, I'm actually on YouTube on my Fire Stick right now, trying to figure out what was going on. But yeah, the Insectors were really broken back then. In fact, I think it topped several regionals back in the day, if I remember correctly. So still a pretty good card. Next up we have Utopian Aura, which is a card that you don't see get played, honestly. It says detach one material from a monster you control. The face-up Xyz monsters you currently control cannot be destroyed by card effects until the end phase. This was a card that you did not see get played that often, unless if it was like a last resort type of deal. It's not that good. It really is not that good, honestly. Next up we have Genus Wonder Magician, which is a 5-star light attribute spellcaster synchro tuner with 1900 attack and 0 defense, and it requires a tuner and one or more non-tuner Tech Genus monsters, TG of course. If this card is synchro summoned, target a spell or trap on the field, destroy that target. Basically, form a MST. If this card on the field is destroyed, draw one card. Once per chain during your opponent's main phase, you can, as a quick effect, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. So it's basically like Formula Synchron. So it's 3 different effects in one. You get to draw a card. You get to pop you get to pop one of your opponent's back row, and you can basically to go anime, if you will, XL Synchro basically with the card. So really awesome card. In fact, I think I still have my ultra rare from the set from the original set. But still, really good card. Next up, we have Dark Sumorg. Something that you saw in this is one of those cards that you would normally see back in Edison format, and even in Teledeath format as well, because it was a dark. You had to do it. It's a 7-star dark attribute winged beast with 2,700 attack and 1,000 defense, and it says while face up on the field, this card is also wind attribute. Yeah, you can banish one dark monster and a wind you can banish a dark and a wind monster from your grave, special summon this card from your hand. So it's like its own like Chaos Emperor Dragon BLS type of deal. Really crazy, really crazy. You can banish a dark and a wind monster from your hand, special summon this card from your grave. Your opponent cannot set any cards on the field. Basically, it was a really excellent disruption on board because your opponent would not be able to set anything, and not only could you banish a dark monster and a wind monster from your hand, but you can also do that from the graveyard to special summon him, this card from your hand or your graveyard right off the bat, which is crazy. Really good card. Next up, we have Jungs Syncron. I really don't have to explain what Jungs Syncron does. Basically, it just says when this card is normal summon, you can target a level 2 or lower monster in your grave, special summon it in defense, but its effects are negated. It's a tuner monster. Go into your warrior plays. I don't have to explain what it does. It's just a broken card. Really good card. Next up, we have Outstanding Dog Marin, which I believe tied into a story with something. I don't remember. But it says when this card is sent to your grave, add it to your deck and shuffle it. Basically it was its own like recycler of sorts. You did not see that card get played at all. You would hardly see it. Hardly see it get played. Not the best card, but still pretty. But the artwork is kind of cute, I will admit. Next up, we have Penguin Soldier. And it actually has a flip effect where it says you can target up to 2 monsters in the field, return those targets to the hand. It's basically a double compulsory evacuation device. Still pretty cool. It's a pretty cool card. Not the greatest, because you can obviously use double compulse, but still really cool. Really cool. Now, so that was pretty much it for the comments for the supers. We have 1, 2, 3. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 super rares. First up, we have Basil Rose Shoot, which I actually got a copy of as a common. Crazy enough. It says special summon 1 black rose. It says special summon 1 rose dragon monster from your hand or grave in defense position. So it can either be a cyber dragon. So you can either Cyber Dragon the monster or reborn it from the grave. If this set card is destroyed, you can target one of your Black Rose. You can target one of your Black Rose Dragon or one monster that specifically lists that card in its text that is banished or in your grave. Special summon, you can only use each effect once per turn. This was actually a 3 of. This is a 3 of in so many different Black Rose decks. This card is just absolutely nuts. Really good. Next up we have, if I can actually get this right, Scrap Raptor is the next one up. And for those who've played the Scrap engine before, I think in multiple Dino decks, you guys know what it does. But for those who have never seen it before, it says you can target a monster you control, destroy it. Also, during your main phase this turn, you can normal summon a Scrap monster in addition to your normal summon or set. So, basically, you destroy a monster and you can double, and you can basically get the chance to double summon monsters from your hand right off the bat, which is just that insane. Really crazy. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a Scrap card and sent to your grave, you can add 1 Scrap Factory or a non-tuner Scrap monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn, comboing off obviously with Scrap. I think Scrap Golem, if I remember correctly. Scrap Golem, I think was the one. But next up we have Penguin Brave. Hang on, guys, my laptop is just being pathetic. Laptop is being pathetic. Next up we have Penguin Brave, which is the Synchro, and I had already talked about this on the channel a few times. When the announcement of Phantom Rage when the announcement of Phantom Rage came out, but it's kind of decent. It says it's actually the Syncron. It's actually the Syncron monster. If you guys remember that video, I highly recommend watching it because Penguin Brave was kind of decent, I'll say. Your opponent cannot target face down defense position monster you control with card effects. Basically, so Dark Hole Rikeki cannot nothing. You can only use each of the following effects of Penguin Brave once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon a penguin from your deck and face down defense. When your opponent activates a monster effect as a quick effect, you can flip one face down defense position water monster you control face up, comboing off obviously with Penguin Soldier, going for the double compulse. So it's fairly decent, I'll say. It's fairly decent, but once my laptop starts to go back to normal, I can actually move on to the next card, which is Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. I believe this was... Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so this was from the tins. Yeah. This is for the tins. I think it was in... What was it, Rising Rampage, if I remember correctly? If I remember right, I believe it was. Yeah, Rising Rampage. I remember Rising Rampage. Crazy enough. Send one war monster from your deck to the grave. Then, if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can add from your deck to your hand one tenny monster with a different name from the monster sent to the grave. You can only activate one Vessel of the Dragon Cycle per turn. It's basically another. It's like another form of one for one, so to speak. So still, it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent, I'll say. Pretty decent. Not the greatest card, but still, it's kind of a decent card. You don't see it that often, at all. So yeah, Flawless Perfection of the Tenny is the field spell for the Tennies. Yeah. So all really stupid ads. All non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. Once per turn, if your opponent special summons an effect monster or monsters while you control a face down monster or non-effect monster, except during the damage step, you can draw 2 cards. Basically, it was like it's like its own like pot of greed. Basically, it's its own pot of greed. Not much you can say about that. Not much you can say about that. Next up, we have Resonance Insect, which I believe. Duelist Alliance. I did not think... Really? Duelist Alliance? That far back? Holy shit. Is that the only printing of it? No way. That cannot be the only printing. Duelist Advent. Yeah, I thought so. Duelist Alliance. I thought so. That it's the... Wow, the only printing? And it was a common? Are you fucking kidding? Wow, that is sad. That is sad. I don't think I've ever seen this card before, but it's a 4-star Earth attribute insect with 1,000 attack and 700 defense. If this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can add a level 5 or higher insect from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished, you can send an insect monster from your deck to the grave, except this card. So it's basically Stratos, Foolish Burial for the insects. Not much to say. Not much to say, people. Not much to say, except it's just that good. It's just that fucking good. Next up, once my laptop goes back to normal... Oh, it was normal. Cyber Dragon Nova. We all know what this card does, but for those who have never seen Cyber Dragon Nova, which I'm pretty sure everyone has seen Cyber Dragon Nova before, but basically Nova says once per turn you can detach one material from this card, then target a Cyber Dragon in your grave, special summon that target. Once per turn, as a quick event, you can banish a Cyber Dragon from your hand or face up from your monster zone. This card gains 2100 attack until the end of the turn. If this card in your possession is sent to the grave from your opponent's card effect, you can special summon a Machine Fusion from your extra deck. Monster Reborn, Megamorph, Waking the Dragon. 3 of the most broken cards in the game at this point in time. Monster Reborn, the first effect, summon a Cyber Dragon from your graveyard. Second effect, gains 2100. Hello, Cyber Dragon Nova has 2100 attack. It's a Megamorph without the cost of having your life points lower than your opponent's. Waken the Dragon, you summon a fusion from your extra deck. Dare I say more? Do I need to say more? I don't think I don't. I don't think I have to. Don't really have to at this point. Next up we have, if I can get to it. Can I get to it? Yes, I can. We have the Great Emperor Penguin, which was released in Generation Force, actually, crazy enough. You contribute this card, supposed to summon up to 2 penguin monsters from your deck, except Great Emperor Penguin. Basically, it's double. It's basically a way to just summon out more monsters. Spam the board with a bunch of monsters. Go into your single plays. Yeah. Next up, we have and then for the last of the super rares, we have Power Bond, which I don't know. I don't have to explain what it does. It's basically polymerization for the Cyber Dragons, or rather for any machine deck. Basically, it's just that damn good. But for the ultimate rares, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know why the fuck they did this, but it is what it is. For the ultimate rares, we have Black Luster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, Infinite Impermanence, and number 39 Utopia. We all know Imperm is still going to be too expensive no matter what happens. Black Luster Soldier will always have that high price range. Utopia will actually go up in price, actually, crazy enough. I know that when it was a common, when it was printed as a common in one of the starter decks, it was only like not even $1 at that time. Now, with this ultimate rare printing of it, it's gonna go up in price. I don't have to explain what any of these cards do, but for Soldier of Chaos, I will explain what it does, because I believe it's like a form of negation, if you will. So it says, so it requires 3 monsters with different names. If this card was link summoned using a level 7 or higher monster as material, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. So it's basically it's protecting itself, if you will. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects as well. When this card destroys an opponent's monster of a battle, you can activate one of these effects. This card gains 1500 attack. This card can make a second attack during the battle phase of your next turn. Banish a card on the field. Simple, plain simple. Don't need to explain. Infinite Impermanence. You guys know what it does. We've used them before. Basically, it's a negation for your opponent. And Utopia, basically, it's basically a negate attack. Basically, it's a negate attack. Don't have to explain. Now the question is this set good? Is this OTS set good? In my honest opinion, no. In my honest opinion, no. Because for one, Black Luster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos was already reprinted in Ghost from the past as a Ghost Rare, and the card itself and that Ghost Rare printing is already at like what, $200-300 at best. Infinite Impermanence is still gonna go up in price. Utopia is gonna go up in price. The super rares are not even that great. You know, they're not even good. Resident Insect is kind of decent. Nova is pretty good. Basil Rose Shoe is pretty good. The rest of them are just not that good. And not only that, but the commons, out of all these commons, in my opinion, the only ones that I believe that are gonna be pretty expensive are Jungs Syncron Tech Genus Wonder Magician, Inductor Dragonfly, Utopia Ray V, and also Yazi as well, in my opinion. So I don't think this is gonna be a good set. I know that there are a lot of people out there who are gonna say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah blah blah. This card, this is really good. Here's the thing. Utopia did not need a reprint. I'm just saying right now, Utopia did not need a reprint. Black Luster Soldier and Imperm, no matter how many times they get reprinted, it will always go up in price because of how good they are. So there was no point in printing those cards. If anything, they should have reprinted Elemental Hero Air Neos, even possibly as a super rare. And for those who have been big fans of GX, they would have been content with that. They would have been so content with that. But no, that's not the case. We have this lineup: Utopia, Imperm, the BLS Link, the Ultimate Rares, Powerbond, Grey Emperor Penguin, Nova, Resonance Insect, Flawless Perfection, Dragon Cycle, Penguin Brave. These, for the supers, Wonder Magician, Utopia Ray V, Fenrir Restore Common. Really? To be honest, I am not impressed. Honestly, I'm not impressed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, I'm happy that a lot of these expensive cards did get reprinted. Don't get me wrong on that. But the biggest downside is the fact that they're still going to be expensive. For those who have a hard time of getting those cards, it's going to be an even harder time to get them now, because of the fact that they're printed as Ultimate Rare. So, again, my thoughts: is this set good? No, because of the fact that Utopia did not need that reprint. It was already reprinted in sets like Dual Power and starter decks and whatnot. It did not need that reprint. I mean, I know that it's to hype up the new Utopia structure deck. I get it, but if anything, but honestly, in my opinion, any of the other Utopias would have been fine. But number 39 itself, I don't know. I am not buying it. But that brings me to the question of the day: what are your guys' thoughts on OTS 17? Let me know in the comments below, and that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more videos like this in the foreseeable future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.